Hello, this is Raghav's take. Prime Minister Modi, he always likes to shock and awe with headline-grabbing moves.
I am now happy to announce that there will be no income tax payable up to income of 12 lakh rupees.
He did it again in Budget 2025 via a sweeping income tax cut. That has gifted an extra 1 lakh crore rupees to urban Indian households. Now, if your salary is 12 lakh rupees per annum, you save 80,000 rupees. And if you're earning 1 crore every year, you save about 1.5 lakhs. That's material. So, buy, baby, buy. But if you think a consumption revolution is imminent, well, here are a few sobering points. Nearly 8 crore Indians file tax returns, of which 4 crore are zero tax returns. So this revolution is confined to 4 crore citizens when, as Modi ji says with such aplomb, there are 140 crore Bharatvasis, 1.4 billion Indians. Also, the total private consumption expenditure in India is, approximately 200 lakh crore. So this tax stimulus of 1 lakh crores, while I agree, it's large in comparison with previous giveaways, it's actually just 0.5% of the full pie. Now, please don't get me wrong. I pay fairly high taxes, so I'm personally delighted that I've been gifted, I would say, 1 or 2 free vacations every year. But 2 things continue to trouble me. 1, is it correct for wealthy Indians to get such a big tax cut, making us perhaps the lowest tax jurisdiction for high income individuals in sort of comparably sized economies? Is this a progressive or regressive move? Second, was there an equitable method of disbursing this largesse of 1 lakh crore rupees, through the broader economy to benefit people at the lower end of the pyramid? Now, imagine if they had promised a sharp reduction in GST, goods and services tax rates, thereby increasing the consumption capacity of every, note this word, every Indian, of 140 crore Bharatvasis, that is, of each and every one of our 1.4 billion citizens, as opposed to a piffling 40 million or 4 crore taxpayers. I can bet you that the progressive multiplier impact of this move of cutting GST could have kick-started a much bigger consumption upswing. But the Prime Minister's apologists, well, they'll pounce on me saying the GST rate is not decided in the union budget, but by the GST Council. Frankly, that's very lame. The union government plus its, double-barrel BJP state governments, they enjoy an overwhelming majority in the GST Council. And any promise made by Finance Minister Sitharaman in her budget speech, that could easily be enforced in a few weeks. So when you say we can't do it in the budget, when you make that assertion, frankly, it's a cop-out. And their apologists know that. So why would a GST rate cut be more effective? Because at a core rate of 18% and a luxury rate of 28%, both of which have been unchanged and fixed for the last 8 years, the blood of poor, middle class, even high salary earning Indians is being sucked by an extravagant and regressive tax. For every 10,000 rupees they spend on household items and even things like insurance policies, poor and middle class families pay 1,800 rupees to the state. Now imagine if just 300 of this is returned to them via a reduced tax rate, why, they could go out and buy a few extra eggs for the kids. And when a high salary earner buys a car for, let's say, 10 lakh rupees, now if the GST rate is cut from 28% to 22% by 6 percentage points, she would save 60,000 rupees. Probably she can, finally buy that iPad for her daughter. Now, in tax jargon, this is called the Laffer effect, which means that when tax rates are cut, consumption swings up, thereby stimulating growth and generating more taxes to make up for the cut in rates. The Laffer curve is predicated on an optimum tax rate at which revenues are maximized. Although, this cannot be a precise or a very scientific number. Governments must do this slowly and empirically. But unfortunately, our policymakers have been just too timid to experiment. They've stayed paralyzed with the same rates for 8 years. Now, several studies suggest that the revenue neutral GST rate is between 6.2% and 15.3%. That is, if we were to cut the core GST rate from 18% to 15% and the luxury rate from, say, 28% to 22%, the government should not lose any revenue. What's more, these lower tax rates also, they reduce the incentive to create a black economy, and therefore they actually lead to much greater compliance. Now, Messrs. Modi and Sitaraman should have, in my opinion, gathered the courage to take this very measured risk. If it had worked, as it should have, since indirect tax cuts from South Africa to Jamaica to Sweden, they've validated the Laffer hypothesis, we could have gotten bolder and moved to a 12% core and an 18% luxury GST rate, perhaps 3 years later in 2028. But we'll never know if we never try. In any case, GST is crying out for repair. Now, just read what India's foremost tax lawyer, that's Arvind Datar, what he wrote in the Indian Express. He said, the fatal flaw in the functioning of the GST Council is the single-minded focus on revenue maximization. No attempt is made to rationalize rates, cut down complicated notifications and circulars, check arbitrary and exaggerated demands through show-cause notices, and create a fair and impartial appellate system. But finally, if all these entreaties are falling on, scared, on risk-averse political ears, I can propose an insurance plan that could eliminate the entire revenue risk. And the magic word is privatization, which has been, so tragically abandoned by the current regime in this budget. Now, currently, our listed public sector assets are valued at more than 17 lakh crore rupees. It's truly a shame that instead of encashing these gains and returning the value to the true owners, who are the true owners of these assets? You and me, the tax-paying citizens of India. The government, by not doing that, is actually pushing us deeper into debt. They've infused 2.75 lakh crores into a struggling BSNL, and about 11,000 crore rupees into RINL, Rashtriya Ispat Nigam Limited. And I've just given you these two examples among several what I would call suicidal fiscal calls. Frankly, this must stop. India needs to break the ennui that was so evident in Finance Minister Sitaraman's, exertions on the 1st of February 2025. India's economy needs new ideas and bold actions. A quick and effective beginning could have been made with some of these riskless initiatives that I've just spoken about in this edition of Raghav's Take.